This is the story of the city. This is the story of its people, their joys, their struggles, their loves, their dreams. And sometimes, just sometimes, their improbable encounters. In the ceaseless whirlwind of New York City, where dreams are built and broken to the rhythm of yellow cabs, lived Leo. At 45, his hands knew the calluses of the accordion more than the softness of a plush mattress. Each morning, early when the city was still half asleep, he'd settle near Central Park, letting the melodies of his instrument tell stories that words could not. His music, a blend of old-world charm and urban grit, echoed the city's heartbeat. It spoke of quiet desperation, of hopes held close, and of dreams that danced on the edge of dawn. One such morning, a woman stopped. Her name was Eleanor. 50 years had etched wisdom into her features and a quiet strength into her stride. Her world was one of glass and steel, of boardroom deals and financial reports. Yet here she was, captivated by a street musician and his accordion. "That's lovely," she said, her voice like silk over steel. Her words were brief, a polite acknowledgement of his music, before she turned to go back to her world of deadlines and decisions. Leo watched her leave, surprised by the unexpected pause, a rare moment of stillness in his chaotic life. Eleanor continued on her way, but her mind drifted back to the musician. The city was a symphony of sounds, yet somehow his music had managed to stand out. Mornings then became a routine. The city woke up to the familiar sight of Eleanor's sleek car parked nearby. While she bought a coffee, she'd walk to Leo's spot, a silent ritual. The steam from the cup mingling with the notes that danced from Leo's accordion, the clink of ceramic on stone, the murmur of his music. It was a conversation without words. She'd sit for a while, lost in the melody, then return to her car and drive away, leaving Leo to the rest of his day. Days turned into weeks, the seasons shifting, the city changing hues. Through it all, their ritual remained constant. He played, and she listened. She brought him music sheets, classical compositions that resonated with his soul. He, in turn, played songs from his homeland, tales woven into music that spoke of places she'd never been. Their worlds were galaxies apart. She resided in a penthouse with a sweeping view of Central Park, the very park where he sometimes slept on a bench. She navigated boardrooms. He played for his next meal. Yet an invisible thread began to connect them. She found solace in his melodies, a stark contrast to her world of numbers and meetings. He found a gentle humanity in her consistent presence, a small comfort in his often harsh reality. Their encounter was a puzzle to the city, a seasoned businessman and a street musician. What could they possibly have in common? Yet there they were, united by the quiet language of music, a shared grief, a common solitude. Hers born of immense success, his forged by constant struggle. Then, one day, rain lashed against the pavement, wind tore through the city, turning Central Park into a stormy sea. Most people stayed indoors, but she was passing by and saw him playing, drenched and resolute. As she approached, she noticed something different in his music, a note of despair that mirrored the storm around them. She watched him play, feeling a sudden urgency. His music ended, and she stepped forward. "I need your help," she said, her voice firm. Startled by the sudden sound of her own voice, she explained. There was an art exhibition that evening, an event she had to attend, but it was in a different borough, far from her usual route. "It's a charity event," she added, realizing how that might sound to him, "but I need someone to drive me. My driver is ill." He looked at her, his eyes questioning. The offer hung between them, an unlikely request met with an unspoken need. Then slowly, as if the music had stopped for a moment, he nodded. They left the park together, the rain still drumming on the pavement. At the gallery, amidst the hushed whispers of the affluent crowd, he stood out, not because of his music, but because of his worn clothes, his calloused hands. Still, when Eleanor placed a hand on his arm, a silent understanding passed between them. He was more than his appearance. She saw the depth in his eyes, the strength in his quiet demeanor. As the night deepened, Leo found himself swept up in a world that was both fascinating and alien. The art, the conversations, the food, it was a realm he'd only glimpsed from afar. But Eleanor was there, her presence a steady anchor. She introduced him to friends, colleagues, even family, none of whom seemed to bat an eyelid at the unconventional +1. When the evening wound down, as the city lights twinkled outside, they found themselves alone again. He sat on a chair, watching her speak to a group of people, his heart swelling with a mix of emotions. He felt seen, not pitied, truly seen. Over the next few weeks, their bond deepened. The city, once just a backdrop, became a shared space. They explored it together, discovering hidden cafes, vibrant street art, echoing subway stations. Their laughter mingled with the city's din, their footsteps echoing its rhythm. One evening, while walking through a bustling market, she stopped by a bakery, picking up 2 freshly baked loaves of bread. "For my son," she said, glancing at the brown bag in her hand, a hint of sadness in her eyes. Days later, when she arrived at the park, she found him playing a new tune, one that spoke of longing and hope. She sat down watching him play, the music weaving its magic. When he finished, she asked about the song. And he told her about a young girl from his village who played the piano, dreaming of a life beyond their small town. Touched by the story, she shared her own about her son, about how he loved pizza, about his dreams of becoming an astronaut. "I haven't seen him in a while," she added, a shadow crossing her face. He stopped playing for a moment, his fingers hovering over the keys. "Your son," he began, his voice rough with emotion. "He's a good kid. You should be proud." She looked at him, surprised by his insight. Their bond deepened, transcending their differences, bridging the gaps in their lives. He filled her days with music, her world with color. The city, once just a stage for his music, became a canvas for their shared story. He found himself openly telling her about his life, his dreams, his regrets. The disappointment when his passion for music was met with practicality from his parents who wanted more for their son. She listened, offering not just her ears but her heart. She, in turn, began to see the beauty in simplicity, the worth in a single sunflower seed. A melody in the raindrops, a masterpiece in an ordinary day. Their friendship was a balm to their souls, a shared solace in a city that often felt too big, too loud, too full of people who never truly saw you. With him, she wasn't Eleanor, the titan of industry, but Eleanor, a woman who liked rainy days and sunflower seeds. And he wasn't just a street musician, he was Leo, a friend, a confidant, a fellow traveler on the journey of life. As the months passed, their bond grew stronger, nurtured by shared laughter, quiet understanding, the unspoken comfort of just being there. Their meeting, a chance occurrence in the grand tapestry of the city, had become an essential thread. One day, sitting by the park, as the city hummed its vibrant tune, she turned to him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice catching, "for being you, for being my friend." He looked at her, his own eyes brimming with emotion. "You don't need to thank me," he replied, his voice rough with feeling. "We find music, we find friendship, we find solace in the most unexpected places. This city has a way of surprising you, doesn't it?" They sat in silence, the city's rhythm enveloping them. And in that moment, they understood that their friendship, like the city itself, was a testament to life's unpredictable beauty. And so their story continued, a melody played on an old accordion, a sonata of friendship, a harmony of 2 souls in perfect accord.